I think youth sports made me the person of who I am today. And I want to make sure that any athlete that plays youth sports has the best experience possible. Injuries are a huge part of that. Their health is a part of that. Their happiness is a part of that. Because most kids, they just want to play. When they get hurt, they'll do anything to get back on that field again. I just want to make sure that they have the best resources, the right content, the right data, so that we can make the best decisions on how we get them back on the field. I think every athlete in America should have a player's health record. But right now, there are about 50% of all of our injuries that we have in youth sports are preventable. Can we reduce that by half by 2020? That's my goal. We believe that caring for them today allows them to be able to have a better life later. I started Players Health as my own personal journey. I played youth football and I was able to play professionally for a number of years. But when I was about 15, I got hit with my head down. I was catching a slow ball. I got hit. I was paralyzed on the turf for about 30, 45 minutes, couldn't move. And then miraculously, everything started to come back. Got up, walked off. My coach was like, hey, I think you have a stinger. You're fine. A year later, I had the exact same injury happen to me. Come to find out, I had 3 bulging discs in my neck. I had been playing with that condition for an entire year. That injury led to lower back injuries, hamstring injuries, and ultimately led to the end of my career. I was playing for Saskatchewan Roughriders, and I had just tore my hamstring off my tibia. I was on crutches. I was depressed, and I was like, what's next? I had an injury-riddled season at that point, and I was just like, I need to figure out a way to make this better for youth. As a professional athlete, there was nothing that I didn't have. When it came to medical support, equipment, facilities, youth sports, they don't have a fraction of what most professional or collegiate athletes have, for that matter. And I was really passionate about making sure that youth athletes have some resources to help them when it comes to managing their health, so that they one day could become not a professional athlete, but just be able to run around with their kids when they need to, basically.
Yeah, in this case, he had broke his thumb. So we just have that as a past injury. So here's his active, so nothing wrong today. But then with the inactive. I found it very interesting that Tyree would have this vision to say, look, there has to be a better way for documenting injuries. The Players Health application addresses that need. We had a kid that was in school and they had fallen backwards in their chair and sustained a concussion that way. We don't think of those things as coaches and everything out here, but as parents, they can say, look, I'm going to communicate this. My son sustained a concussion in school and just want to communicate that to you. Okay, the coach knows what to look for then. We need to adapt to the times. And we need something that's going to be easy to communicate, easy to record injuries and risks, and be able to document those things in a way that is easy for the coach, is easy for the parents, and also helps to minimize the risk for the organization.
Players Health is a health management platform. It's an application that an organization purchases. That parent puts in the initial information that they put in that paper form when they first sign their kid up for sports. So the kid has diabetes, asthma, nut allergy. What do we do when these things happen? Coach can open it up, can view all this information. And then when injuries happen, the coach documents what happened. I think the best thing of what we're doing here at Players Health and my job of starting this company is that we're creating something that has never existed before. Most organizations in youth sports don't even document injuries, period. If I asked a youth sports organization right now how many concussions they had last year, they couldn't tell me. So in terms of the data, we're at nothing. And Players Health is building a really strong foundation for how we view injuries long term. We had a youth football club implement our system, and they were able to see that 31% of their injuries were head injuries. Well, why is that important? Well, because as youth athletes, especially football, that first 3 weeks of camp or practice, they're just learning the game. They're just learning how to get hit. Like, all of these injuries is when they happen the most. So maybe from having that data, we should bring in hitting a little bit later into the practices or weeks. Getting organizations to understand is that the next level of support for health is important, and it's gonna save these kids' lives. I think being able to work with a team, the ability to be able to bounce back when you don't win all the games, right? Being resilient, all of these are attributes as an entrepreneur that you need to have to be successful. The odds are against you to be a professional athlete. The odds are also against you to be successful in startups. 9 out of every 10 startups fail. I'm used to those odds and I'm comfortable with them. So I think me being an athlete helped me be able to weather the storm and build a company like this. But understand that it's not gonna be perfect, and that if we stay focused, disciplined, and we work with our team, we'll be successful.